Thank you very much for the warm welcome. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the lunch break in between after this interesting morning session. And I hope I can wake you up a little bit for the afternoon session, that this will be successful as well. Today I have prepared a little presentation. I hope the presenter stand is a little bit small. I hope it will work, this presentation. I have prepared a presentation about a large-scale project that we have done in the Middle East a couple of years ago. And I would like to share a little bit what we have learned in large-scale projects and how to implement building information modeling in design and construction projects best. First of all, a couple of words about my company, Hochtief ViCon. ViCon stands for Virtual Design and Construction. We are a pure BIM consultancy firm, so that means we don't do design or construction services. Our core profession is building information modeling. We do that for more than 10 years now. We offer services for implementing BIM in organizations or in projects. We help to execute BIM in design and construction projects. We call it the BIM management. And of course, from our history, we are as well able to develop 3D, 4D or 5D models with our people we have. Our setup around the globe, maybe as you can hear it, our headquarters is in Germany, in Essen. We have a branch in UK, we have a branch in the Middle East as well as in India. And we have projects around the globe executed in the past decade. And more than 400 projects altogether. We bring knowledge from high-rise buildings, and that is maybe a message you can take with you. The concepts of BIM can be used in different project segments. And we have analyzed it in high-rise buildings, in roads, in bridges as well as in stadiums, city infrastructure. So the methodology is pretty similar. Of course, the business is much different, but the methodology in terms of working with digital data is similar. As I said, today I would like to speak about some implementation basics before I come to major BIM use cases on a large-scale project. And of course, I would like to show an example of a digital model we have developed so far. When it comes to BIM, maybe somebody knows what it means to implement BIM, some others not, but normally we'll face, doesn't matter if you know what it is or not, you will face a lot of different challenges. And I just summarized a couple of them here. One challenge would be what software to be used, what hardware shall we buy for our people, who could be the BIM manager who has experience with that, how to organize collaboration, how to, let's say, do design coordination, how is data exchange organized, what formats to be used. So there are a lot of different questions which we haven't had before in our business that come with BIM. And I don't want to make you afraid of implementing BIM, but all these questions brought us a little bit to an approach that we called the 5 components approach. So we said when it comes to BIM, it is not only about technology, what many people believe. I buy a software, I buy a piece of hardware, and then I'm able to do 3D modeling. Maybe that's right, but we believe there are other things important to think of. First of all, your business processes. So if you are a design firm, if you have a construction firm, you think of your business processes you would like to support with digital data. And that is your decision, and you think about what is the impact of a digital workflow on your regular business processes. The second, and for me the most important one, the people. How to gain trust from involved personnel. If you invent or if you mandate a new method of working, you will always have people saying, look, we have done construction in the past 30 years. We have done it always successfully. Why shall we change? And this is a normal business we have to do to convince and address the need of those people and try to get their commitment as well in the new way of working. As well to think about collaboration and communication, as this will change with digital data significantly. One thing that is best organized from my point of view is the technology, the most easiest way. Software is in place, hardware is working well also, so technology is easy. Maybe the challenge there is still the data formats and the data exchange between the participants. Another critical item of the 4 components is the policy, the standards you are working with. Most of the countries in Europe doesn't have standards so far in place. There are a few countries like UK, for example, like Finland, which have standards developed and mandated. But most of the other countries, they maybe have started to sort about standards, but that makes a little bit the life difficult with BIM, because you cannot rely on a national standard like you do in an old traditional way. Altogether, you would say that's only 4 components I've shown here. Of course, the number 5 is the new role in the industry. That's the BIM manager. He is the guy putting together in terms of digital data, in terms of digital workflows. That is a new role in our industry. That's not a person, a former design manager, just renamed into a BIM manager. It is a new person with a new skill set, a new role, and that's very important to have that, to finally have success with BIM implementation. Maybe you would say, how can I manage the quality of BIM deliverables for my business if I have other stakeholders in front of me? If you are a contractor, you rely a little bit on the data provided from the design firm. If you are a design firm, you rely on data maybe provided by somebody else in front of you. We believe that the most effective way to implement BIM in a bigger project is through the project developer or the construction manager. These 2 organizations are the only ones to set up rules on a project that need to be followed by everybody involved in the project, which is important because one critical factor is a clear structure of your data, a clear work breakdown structure within your project, and the project developer is the only one in a position to define how this works. And therefore we prefer, of course, when it comes to implementation on bigger projects, it's best to do it together in agreement with the developer, the owner of the project. Level of detail, level of the development. We have done the mistake when we started more than 10 years ago with our engineers, with our employees, that we started to develop a highly detailed model, as much as we can, of course. And at the end of the process, we were pretty proud to have such a model. But the problem was to keep it updated all the time. And you need somebody to pay for that you have a very detailed model continuously updated during the design and construction process. And that was the reason why we developed a model definition that specifies a little bit what kind of level of detail you need within your project. And it starts with the concept phase and ends with the operation phase within a project, supporting the entire life cycle. Important is that we focus a little bit on those elements we already know today. So what is the purpose? What you want to do with a digital model? And those things we know, like we would like to do master planning, we would like to do design coordination, we would like to do progress or cost monitoring. We know these tasks in our projects today, and we specified model types according to these purposes that the model fits for its purpose. And that helps a little bit to decide when is the right time to develop what kind of digital model. I will show later a few examples of some of these model types. I have seen a similar slide this morning in, I think, the second presentation, project information throughout the life cycle, and that is a little bit the motivation for BIM as well. What happens in our projects, if the designer starts doing a design for a project, he's building up knowledge about the facility. Once it comes to the tender and to construction, what happens? You lose a bit of this knowledge from the designer. The contractor starts, he needs to understand the design, he needs to bring his own concepts, maybe value engineering as well, but there is a little loss in information. And then again, the contractor is the guy building up knowledge about the facility. And we have the same thing happening after construction, that once it is handed over to a facility manager, we lose again information in that interface. And this is something BIM can help and support, that the losses of information are minimized, that we have data going through the project lifecycle and not stopping at the end of a particular project phase. Yeah, a sample project I would like to showcase a bit, the Lusail City project in Middle East. It is located in the state of Qatar, in the north of the capital city, Doha. An absolutely new city built. Some of the key facts of the city. It's 37 square kilometers development in the middle of the desert, 17 districts to develop, 2,763 plots, and finally the city is made for 200,000 people to accommodate. So quite a challenging task. In the same time, it has the first rail system in the state of Qatar, so rail was not usual. This is the first city. The longest district cooling network, the first gas network. That was surprising to me, because Qatar is one of the biggest gas producers in the world, but they don't have a national network of gas pipes, but that was the first city with a network. And most of the utilities, of the city utilities, have been developed in a utility tunnel, and that is the longest tunneling project the state has. In this time, the longest utility tunnel in the world. So definitely an ambitious project. We came to the project when the design was already started for the infrastructure works, and the project developer asked us how we can support with digital data, with building information modeling. How can we support this project? How can we enhance design phase, and how can we enhance the output of construction phases? We started the project in 2007 already, so it was quite an early time. Of course, today we would have different opportunities to approach the project, but it was very innovative this time as well. Together with the management of the project developer, we decided on BIM uses. So what is the low-hanging fruit that shall be used from BIM for this particular project? And we decided, first of all, we would like to have a long-term digital strategy for data for this city. We would like to see the city in 3D, a 3D city model, and we would like to do design coordination with the model, like clash detection involving, we had 14 different design firms to involve, and that was definitely a challenging task. Then we have 3D marketing and design studies. Of course, the city authority need to sell the plots to project developers and let's say do marketing on the city. That was important as well. Then we have developer coordination, I will show a little later, as well as digital asset data management for long-term operation. Finally, an important factor was the education part. Of course, BIM knowledge is not easy to get because it's not standardized in that time. And we said, okay, we will establish for the project team on site as well BIM education, that they can take over and do BIM with their own team. We developed a model together with the design consultants. The model has 145,000 meters of highways and roads. So quite a big one, 76,000 foul sewer pipes, almost 200,000 stormwater pipes. So quite a big digital model we developed. And we used the model for infrastructure in order to coordinate the development of the entire city. So the situation was like each plot was sold to a project developer, and the project developer, according to a master plan, had the opportunity to provide his design, and this design of course need to be checked, need to be approved, and everybody needs a building permit in order to start construction works. And we thought, how can we support this process and do digitally with 3D models? What we have done is that we included in the specifications for the developers a schematic model definition. So each developer has to provide a very simplified model that is used to automatically check the building permit. What we have given him as compensation and as better project preparation is a digital model of the entire infrastructure around his plot. So he could see in 3D all the infrastructure elements around his own development. I would like to show that in life. This is such a simple model, and originally when we started we thought it will be a lot of effort to help and consult and teach people in order to develop such digital models, and we offered a workshop for each developer to come, and nobody took advantage of this workshop because it was so easy that they can do it alone. And the effort of such a model is one day, one person. And it is used for automatically checking master plan regulations and providing a digital building permit. You see that we have each floor representing by a cubicle, we have the vertical shaft, and we have the major utility rooms included. Red, for example, is the fire utility room. Light blue is the mechanical room, HVAC, and so on. And of course that was brought in relation with the surrounding infrastructure, that we see where's the plot connection for power, where's the plot connection for gas, for water, and so on. And we coordinated the infrastructure in relation with the high-rise design coming from the developer. And there was automatically a report about the maximum height of the building, the GFA area, the set on the plot that was printed out with a recommendation of approving the building or not. So this is just an example how easy it could be to develop a schematic model for a building permit. Of course, there was another model required. We called it the urban model. The urban model was used in order to develop a nice view on the city. Maybe I have another picture here. So these elements were the urban models. It was used just to show the entire city in 3D, and that you can make analysis like shadow analysis, for example, for the different buildings, and to give other people for marketing purposes a view into the future, how the city will look like in 5 to 10 years. You see some light gray areas that are the outer dimensions coming from the master plan. So that means there's no design available for this particular plot. There's just a placeholder from the master plan, and the model is maybe coming later. Important was that all data coming from these models already were stored into one single database. So that was crucial, because the question was how to deal with the as-built information for the infrastructure as well for the high-rise buildings on a long-term basis. And we decided for an SQL database because we thought that this would be the most efficient way and best way to store data for long term. This image shows how we have put together all the different data sources. Of course, there was 2D as-built documentation because there is no regulation on BIM in Qatar. That means all as-built documentation according to local construction standards have to be done in 2D. So 2D drawings are still to be considered for this project. We have 3D models, we have data sheets and forms, and operation and maintenance manuals. All that got linked to each other import it into these SQL databases, and from there we use it for long-term operation with systems like Archibus or Maximo, and we can export as well into the COBie format, which is important for the facilities manager. How this data comes to the site, because often we see in bigger projects that in the design phase you have an army of people working on a digital model, and if you go out to the site and ask the site engineer or somebody else, he doesn't know that the model even exists. And that cannot be the right way. So the model must somehow go to the site as well, that these people that are doing the construction can take advantage out of it also. What we have done is we developed a system that was made for tablet PCs, considering the GPS position as well, that if you go to the city, to a particular spot, according to your GPS position, the system will tell you what is the right model to open for this particular spot. That you quickly can see the circumstances around you. I would like to show a little example for this as well. And unfortunately the resolution is not the best, but I hope that we can see most of the data. Here we have the digital model, and I just have, I zoom out a bit, that is only one district out of 17 I have opened here. And we have all developer information included within this model, and we can now click on a particular plot and we get information about who's the contract. That's what I said. It's difficult to see. Maybe I explain it then in words. You have the contact information, you have design information, like what is the GFA area for this plot according to the master plan, what was developed, the design themselves, what are the availabilities for utilities, so when is this plot fed with power, with water, when you can regularly use it, construction information like construction progress, where it is, shell and core structure, facade ready, finishing works or maybe used already. So all that is included in one single system, and maybe we can go even a step more in detail. I just select a building that has been finished already, so it means it is under operation. What we now get is a more detailed view on the project, because we came from the district level before and we now go down to a plot level. That means that we get more detailed information. You see that we have just a part of the district and not everything. And we have some more information about emergency. For example, I could show, give me all emergency exits of my selected building that has been finished already. You could see then the exit routes out of the building, so in case of any fire you understand quickly where are the people coming out of the building, how's the distribution inside the building, and that was quite important for the city authority to support security issues for the long-term future as well. I would like to end my presentation with, maybe you can call it a recommendation, maybe as an experience from our projects we have done so far. It looks nice when people show something here on stage, but it is important that you think about your own business and what would be the low-hanging fruits for yourself. And that is what sometimes people forget. They do what they have seen somewhere else, but they are not focused to the business, to their own business, and how to do the digital workflow for themselves, how to benefit best from BIM for my organization. And there are always different ways to do it, of course. There is no right or wrong There's maybe a better or not so good way, but there are many ways that can support, and be open for that and think how you can do it for your company. Thank you very much, and if you have questions, I will be around this afternoon, and I hope that we can discuss a bit. Thank you very much.